Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And I want to thank my parents for sponsoring this morning's learning in honor, in memory of my father's mother, my grandmother, Ruth Rosenbaum, Rachel Basmat Yahu Zichron Levracha. Her Yortzeit is Sunday, the 6th of Tammuz. It should be a schus for her neshama. In many ways, the Torah that we learn in our family for Doros is many ways thanks to the home that she and her husband built together. Thank you very much. Okay. Picking up with chapter 17, verse 17. This is after the opening up of the earth and all of that, and after the people complaining after the opening up of the earth. Don't seem to have been dogs that came out during the thing, but now Hashem says to Moshe as follows: Dabir bnei Israel v'kach meitam matem matel veis av. Speak to the Jewish people and take from them a staff for each family from the tribes, from the heads of tribes. There should be one staff from the head of each tribe. Isheshmo tichtov al mateyu. That you should write each man's name on his own staff. Verse 18. V'yeshem Aaron tichtov al matei Levi. Who should be the representative of the tribe of Levi? Aaron. Ki matei achad l'rosh beis avosam. Because the Kohanim are part of the tribe of Levi. And the idea is that they're going to put all of these staffs down, and they'll see in the tent of meeting, and they'll see whose staff blossoms, and that will be the sign that that person is the chosen one, and that tribe is the chosen tribe. And of course, Aaron's staff blossomed. A very interesting Korach over here. It's about Korach and Pasuk Yud Ches, about 4 lines into the Korach. The Efshar Lomer Shekacha also. It's possible that this is what they did. Shalakhu eitz echad v'chilku l'shnei masar chalakim. That they took one tree, branch, large branch of wood, whatever it is, and split it 12 ways. V'choshevet lakach shiba mikshura. The ein hefresh bein shel Aaron l'shel kulan shebazeh yutzdak hamivchan. It's just an interesting thing to think about. This is going to be a miracle. So obviously, the most basic assumption is if the whole thing is a miracle anyway. So whichever person's staff blooms, that's the sign. But he says if you really want to do a good test, you could always argue that maybe this one's branch was better than that one's branch. This one's wood was better than that one's wood. So he suggests that they all came from the same tree, different pieces of wood from the same tree. Later on, when it says that they did what they were told, it says that the staff of Aaron was within their staffs. Like, yeah, I guess so. If everybody put a staff there and Aaron was told to put a staff there, I guess Aaron's staff was there. What's the meaning? So the Korach Chaim suggests, Perish, Chelek Echad Mitocha Eitz Shemimenu Lakhu Matosam. What it means is that not that Aaron's staff was put down among the other staffs. Aaron's staff came from among the wood of the other staffs. It all came from the same tree. And yet, what happened with Aaron's staff was so different. Just an interesting Korach to think about. Okay. And then it says in verse 20, Hashem explains what the purpose of this test is. The person whom I choose, his staff will bloom. And then this will be the way to remove the complaints of the Jewish people. Korach Chaim on Pasuk Chaf. It's an interesting thing. Hashem says, this is the way that we'll deal with all the complaints. This is the way you can deal with all the complaints? How about opening up the earth? Did that not send the message? So what's being accomplished here that hasn't yet been accomplished? I want to remind you of what we saw in the Ramban. The Ramban says that all that really showed was that Aaron was supposed to be the Kohen Gadol, but it doesn't necessarily show that the Leviim are still the chosen people. They're the ones to serve in the Mishkan. And so therefore, that's why the Ramban explains this is a second test to clarify that the Levium are chosen over the firstborns of different families. It's an interesting point that the pasuk is emphasizing that Aaron's name should be written in the one for Levi, because the point is it's not about Aaron as the Kohen Gadol, it's about Aaron representing the tribe of Levi. That's what the Ramban said. The Orach Chaim says, Ulai shel yichoshvim ki ma she'ira leKorach well shel diber neged Moshe v'chalak alav v'Hashem yimkom nakam al kvod nevio neman beisel uliolam efshar sheyivchar b'shar shvatim l'sharsel l'tatziva Hashem lasos mivchan amatos. So the Orach Chaim says maybe the takeaway for people was you shouldn't speak disrespectfully to Moshe Rabbeinu. Maybe if you speak disrespectfully to Moshe Rabbeinu, that's going to bring trouble. And maybe that's why Korach and his supporters had the end that they had. But maybe Korach was actually right. He just didn't approach it the right way. So therefore, this is not punishing anybody. No one's getting punished. This is just clarifying a point. I'll just mention along these lines. There's a fascinating Sfas Emes. I've mentioned it in Shul before. Sfas Emes says Mishnah Pirkei Avos lists the issue of Korach as a machlokesh shelo l'shem shamayim, a dispute not for the right reasons. So the Mishnah talks about you could have a dispute for the right reasons, or you could have a dispute not for the right reasons. Shelo l'shem shamayim. Obviously, the point is that it's bad to be involved in such a dispute, like the type of dispute that Korach was involved in. Sfas Emes asks a question. He says, "Is that the criticism of Korach? Is the criticism of Korach that he was in it for the wrong reasons? Or is the criticism of Korach that he was wrong? Isn't it? I mean, we think he's wrong. So isn't it a more basic thing? Don't be wrong. The thing about for the wrong reasons is like you're right, but you were in it for the wrong reasons. That's what it sounds like. So the Sfas Emes says that it's interesting how it sort of interacts with the idea of the Orach Chaim. The Sfas Emes says maybe Korach was right on some level. Maybe there should have been a greater involvement of a broader range of people, but the Mishnah is saying that the way he went about it and his motivations were so bad that it like sullied his broader argument. So Orach Chaim says the people ask themselves, maybe the punishment of Korach had to do with the method, not the content, but the method. And maybe they're still right in some ways. So now we have this further clarification with the thing with the staffs, no punishment, no criticism of people's complaints or anything, but the thing with the staff clarifies that indeed the tribe of Levi is supposed to be the ones. Okay, now let's go on to verse 23. Vayihimi macharas came the next day. Vayavo Moshe lo Elohitus. Moshe came to the tent of meeting. V'nei parach mate Aaron, the base Levi. And lo and behold, the staff of Aaron bloomed. Vayotze ferach, vayotze tzitz, vayigmosh kedim. Almonds came from it, it bloomed, all these great things. So, and distinctive from the rest of the staffs. So this clearly shows that Aaron, and really what we're saying is his tribe, are the chosen ones. Verse 24, Moshe brought out all of the staffs from before God, from the tent of meeting. He brought them out to the Jewish people. The whole point of this is to clarify for people. So let them see that 11 staffs look one way and Aaron's staff looks another way. Vayiru vayiklu ishmateyu. And each one took his staff. They took their staffs home. Why did they take their staffs home? What are they going to do with their staffs? Very brief, but I thought very interesting sforno. Sforno on Pasuk Chav Daled. Vayiru vayiklu ishmateyu. L'chavein simonim bivateyam, to keep on looking at the signs in their houses. Shemahuchlaf, maybe it'll change. I think this is fascinating. In other words, that the Sforno was saying and it doesn't say that they were told to take them home. It doesn't say that wasn't the instruction given. I mean, they weren't disobeying anything. There was no instruction about this. They took it home because maybe if it hasn't bloomed yet, maybe it'll bloom tomorrow. I don't know. I just think it's a very interesting. I can't exactly wrap my mind around what the point is. I think you could say different things, but I think it's a fascinating statement that when we have a dream in life, it's hard to part from that dream. So clearly the answer is you're not it. Aaron and his tribe, not you. But you never know. Maybe the staff will change. So I don't know if that's a bad thing that they have to just come to terms with things. I don't know if it's a good thing that I don't know if it's a good thing that a person should never stop dreaming. It's interesting. Even this point, I've heard people speak about it in different ways. Not Sforno, but just this fact. So I once heard someone say that it's important to know that you once had a dream. It's important to know, and as if you dreamed of greatness, of remarkable accomplishments, and then it became clear it wasn't going to happen. There's still a value in seeing it in your house and not forgetting that you once hoped you could have that kind of role in the nation. Then you could imagine someone saying that that's discouraging. You should never allow yourself to be discouraged. So it's an interesting thing to think about. Okay. Let's jump ahead to chapter 18, verse 7. Okay, chapter 18, verse 7. V'ata uvonecha yitcha tishmeru es kahunaschem. So Hashem is referencing Aaron, you and your children with you should guard your priesthood. Regarding matters, the altar, regarding matters of the Mishkan in general. Avodas matana etenes kunaschem. I will give your priesthood as a service of a gift. Vazara karev yumas. And the non-Kohen who approaches will die. It's only for the Kohanim. What does it mean to be the service of a gift? What does that mean? So if you look at the Ramban in Pasuk Zayin, Avodas matana etenes kunaschem. B'matana nisati alochem. Rashi says it's a gift. It's a gift that you have this opportunity to do it. How fortunate you are that you have this opportunity to serve in this way. Lomashi lochem matana gemura. This is such a gift to you. If a non-Kohen would come, he'd get punished for trying to do what you're doing. But you, it's your job. What a matana, what a present from God. That's what Rashi says. Hanachon ba'enai. But the Ramban says, I think the pshat is, ki omar v'avadatem avodas hakahuna ve'einena lochem avdus v'shibud kavodos avdei malachim avodas matana gedula nasati lochem ba. The Ramban says, the word avodah, work or worship, implies physical labor and difficulty. And the Ramban says the pshat in avodas matana is the work that you have to do is a gift because it gives you prominence. It gives you honor. That's what it gives you. And you should feel special because of that. So that's an interesting thing to think about. So Rashi says, you're just so lucky. You're lucky to have this job. The Ramban is saying something similar, of course, but the idea, according to Ramban, is even the nature of the job. It just brings you so much honor. That's an interesting shot, different ways to understand this phrase. So we discussed this morning the staff of Aaron. We discussed the purpose for the test in terms of the staff of Aaron. We discussed, those were both for the Korach. We discussed the Sforno in terms of the significance of them bringing the staff home. And we discussed Rashi and the Ramban regarding the service of a gift.